Hello, and welcome to the Stafford Boxing Report. I am your host, Sheila Stafford.
You know who I am, Stafford Boxing, the making of champions. Mm, mm. What's going on, everybody? What's happening? What's good with y'all, man? What's up, man? It's kind of chilly in the ATL. You feel me? So we just gonna get down to this good podcast show. We want to thank our engineer and our host, Talkin Fight out of Canada. Salute to y'all. We appreciate y'all. Sheila, what you got going on today?
Well, it's all about
Boxing.
boxing.
Bow, bow.
And there's many topics that I want to talk about. But before we even start on that, there was something that was on your mind that you wanted to talk about with what happened. They had it at the funeral at the State Farm Arena.
Oh yeah,
You said
man.
you wanted to talk. So before we get into the boxing, we're going to talk about this.
So this past weekend, man, we laid to rest Takeoff from the Amigos rap group out of Atlanta, Georgia, and it was very sad. It really was. First of all, their family will never be the same. Never. And it's a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. Number one is that us black men who come from the hood, the ghetto, impoverished backgrounds, under served communities, etc. If you get some money, bruh, you gotta move differently, bruh. Jealous and envy is serious out here, my boy.
For real.
It's serious, man. And like your enemy is not necessarily the person who you think is your enemy. Your enemy is the person that's close to you. It can be family, it can be a business partner, it could be anybody, bro. But I'm from Houston. I'm from the south side of Houston, and I moved to Atlanta back in 88, 89, and I graduated from Banneker in College Park. But the point that I'm making is that I went back to school, I said like 90, I went back to Houston to attend Texas Southern University. I think that was like 94, yeah, 94, 94, 95, 96, and I moved back to Atlanta. But anyway, the south side and the north side was terrible. A lot of people was losing their life. So when Takeoff lost his life in Houston, it had me to reflect on my experience in Houston. Now I'm from Houston, but I love Atlanta, man. I'm so Atlanta, man. I love Atlanta is home to me. I'm H-Town. I love Houston, but man, I love Atlanta. Atlanta's where I met my beautiful wife at. Atlanta been good to me. We founded the Stafford Boxing Club. The Stafford Boxing is definitely moving to a higher level. But anyway, man, it's a lot of death that's going on in our community. A lot of young black men, and if we don't have enough men, then we cannot continue on having, our seeds, meaning like the population, the black community would definitely just kind of die off. So we need to, really address that in our community. And Shakur Stevenson was at this invited gathering hosted by Jay Prince Jr. and Josh Prince. They are the sons of Jay Prince, the founder of Rap-A-Lot Records in Houston, Texas. Rap-A-Lot Records have made a major contribution to the hip-hop culture. Jay Prince has been an icon figure in the hip-hop community, so I give him a lot of credit for his contribution to the rap culture, to hip-hop culture. But this like the second death that happened with Jay Prince Jr. and so forth, man. And they are high-profile people, man. And like I read the Instagram post by Jay Prince, and man, like I don't know, man. As a leader, man, sometimes not saying anything is the best thing. Particularly in this situation. A lot of time conversations can be had behind closed doors. It don't necessarily have to be on a public setting, even though that this is a high profile figure in the black community in the music industry. And it was sad, man. And it was sad. And the thing that I saw was that Jay Prince Jr. just walked right past the man. He ain't even like try to see if he's okay or whatever. No matter what your affiliation is, at least have a heart for human beings, bro. Like if you see someone that you consider as a brother and they entrusted their lives in your presence, meaning that they came to Fifth Ward and they was around y'all, and y'all supposed to make sure that if they are your guests, that they make it back to their place of residence safely. And it's senseless, man, dying over because of an argument or whatever it may be. I don't know if it was about a dice game. I don't know what it was about, but whatever it was about, it didn't require for a person to lose his life, man. And like when us black men, when we acquire a certain amount of money and we move out the hood and out the ghetto, whatever you want to call it, but man, we need to move different, bro. We need to hire professional security, not your player partner and all this. Nah, bro, you need to hire some security that's like move like a military. They from Russia, Ukraine, or something like that. You feel me? Like this is getting ridiculous, man. It's sad, and the young kids is looking up to this foolishness, thinking that this is what reality is, and this is not reality, bro. This is cap. I'm talking about big cap too, and our ancestors, man, are really disappointed in the way that we have carried ourselves and acted, man. So it's like we don't have no role models, bro. All our role models are dying, and all our role models don't necessarily have to be entertainers. Sheila and I consider ourselves as role models, but that's another topic. But the point that I'm making is like Shakur Stevenson, you was right next to Takeoff, bro. And what if that bullet would have ricocheted and it would have hit you? You feel what I'm saying? Even though it may not be intended for you, but when a gun is discharged, the bullet has no designated place. It just goes where it's fired, and if there's an object that where it ricochet, then that's where it'll ricochet, bro. So I know that you signed the J Prince Boxing and he's your manager, etc. But I want to strongly encourage you, bro, that you being from Newark, New Jersey, and Newark, New Jersey, Brick City is ghetto, bro. It's real up there up top, man. And you should move differently, bro. Even though you signed to a boxing company, you know what I'm saying, bro. You don't have to move differently, bro, because you never know, bro. It could have been your time, and then next thing you know, you not being here, you would affect your family because everybody depending on you, bro. You feed a lot of people, bro. And I'm not telling you how to live your life, bro, but I'm making a suggestion to you that, man, you need to move a little bit differently, man. And it's very sad now. You got H Town and Atlanta and all this other type foolishness, man. And so you don't know who gonna crash out. It just crazy, man. So instead of us focus on what's really going on in our community, this has become a distraction. And that's unfortunately because it's so much important things that going on in the world. Not to say that this man's life wasn't important, but it's bigger things that affect us as a community that we need to be focused on. It's an election going on. We got to understand who we're going to vote for, what type of policies is being implemented in our local government, who's the district attorney, who is this person, who's our superintendent, who's our mayor, who's our, all these political positions that's going on, man. We need to kind of figure out, what are they doing for the community? Now, they did everything everything they could do to encourage you to vote for them. Now let's see about holding these people accountable, man. So, man, there's a lot of things that happen in our community. There's a distraction, but at the same time, man, that distraction is getting us unfocused on what we need to be focusing on. We need to be focused on our youth, at-risk youth. We need to be focusing on education. We need to be focused on financial literacy. We need to be focused on our spirituality. Those are the things that I think, in my humble opinion, that the black community need to be focusing on, man, and unity, bro, because that's something that we don't have. And we got to stop killing each other, bro, over senseless stuff. That's just period. So, Sheila, I want to thank you for allowing me to, kind of get that off because it's been dear to my heart. As you can see, this man's death has affected so many people, and we want to take a few minutes of the podcast show to send our condolences to his family and everyone that's affected because this is truly, truly, truly a tragedy. And I want to say shout out to QC. Y'all really sent that boy home like a G, man. So respect to that.
And also to other families in other communities and around the world that have been affected by gun violence and just violence, period. And with the youth, the children, babies being affected by that as well, as whether or not if their life has been taken or a family member, mom, dad, auntie, cousin, uncle, it doesn't matter. The whole family is going to be affected. So we want to send condolences to all families that are affected by violence in all the communities. So, yeah.
Big facts.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that this situation will open up people's eyes.
Dialogue.
Yes, with what happened to Takeoff, and a light bulb clicks. So,
baby, I want to say you drip. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the Stafford boxing track suit.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Give them folks, you know what I'm saying?
I don't think they can see it, or I don't know which way to go. But anyway,
we
have the it has the Stafford boxing logo on the pants too.
Yeah,
and of course I have my shoes.
The name tag is
the socks.
The name tag in here is Stafford.
And
we just
glows in the dark right here too.
We just real dripping, man. Oh, baby, you know what? I'm really excited to go see our babies on.
Oh yeah, Wednesday we get to see them, and we have some snacks for them too. So.
And I hope they have their homework too, because we won't be playing.
Oh yeah,
for real.
And I have some other things for them to do as well. That's going to help with their confidence and their communication skills and their self-esteem. So I'm excited about that as well. So look, everybody's been talking about the fight. So I want to talk about the Mayweather fight. When I tell you that was very entertaining, thank you, Mayweather. And it was somewhat funny. He was dancing a little bit. He was getting the crowd to chant who he was fighting, who used to be a YouTuber, and his name is Deji. And at first, when they first started, Mayweather was just playing around with him. He wasn't really punching him, but he was slapping him. So you know how they have their gloves on, kind of like going like this, just seeing what he was going to do or whatnot. But of course, Mayweather ended up giving it to him. So we all know that Mayweather won that fight. Now, Pursoon had a fight too, and she was the undercard. And I'm somewhat disappointed with her, but I'm trying to think of it on both sides, because when you are hyped and you're amped and you're in it and you're, in it and you're knocking that person down. Now, who she was fighting was already on the ground. She was on her knees. She was on the canvas. But she ended up punching while she was already on the ground. But they didn't disqualify her though.
Did they take a point away from her? No.
Well, wait a minute. It was a no contest. They didn't disqualify her. They put it as a no contest.
Oh, wow.
But she did put her down on the floor because she was so she was on her knees. It was like she was on her knees like this. And when she was on her knees, she just went like this. So that was disappointing for her to do that, because she knew that you're not supposed to do that. You're just supposed to just walk away. You're supposed to go in your corner. Yeah. Or the corner that the referee tells you to go to.
Okay.
So I'm disappointed with that. Also, what was funny too was Tom Fury. Now, Tom Fury originally was supposed to fight Bamba, but an hour before the match, they had to change it because he didn't make weight.
Wow.
He was actually, I believe, 6 pounds overweight. So an hour, they made a decision, and he fought this guy named Lambert. Now, Lambert, he's okay. And what was funny about it was Jake Paul was a commentator.
Oh, really?
Jake Paul he is something. He is something. He cursed a little bit. Well, he cursed some.
A lot.
And him and Tommy Fury don't get along. So he was unimpressed with the fight.
Were you impressed?
Not really. I wasn't. I'm not even going to lie because
what was it about?
Because it just seems like I believe that Lambert was trying. I believe both of them were trying, but I don't see Tommy really having that power in his jabs or his punches. I just don't see it. I don't really see that I want this. This is what I want to do. Like I'm going to like put you down. He doesn't have that killer instincts, that type of mentality. Now I do believe that Jake has it, but he doesn't have it. So Jake stopped commentating on the fight, and it seemed like from the microphone he was like on the side, and he was just saying remarks to Tom Fury. He was really getting into his head. So they had a fight, but I really wasn't. I wasn't impressed with the fight.
Do you think Jake Paul was probably promoting a match with Fury?
Of course.
So no words.
He's just promote. See, that's one thing that I like about Jake Paul because he's branding himself.
Yeah,
he has a very powerful branding.
Hustler.
And that's what a lot of some boxers do now. Fury, he does too. He is always on Twitter. I am always getting something from him, the Egyptian. So I really have respect. I have respect for Jake Paul. I do. And I do believe that Jake Paul is serious about boxing. I do. And I've seen him train. And people might not like how he goes about marketing himself or branding himself because I guess for some people it's not the norm on how he does it. And that's why things should not always be the norm. But don't go overboard with it. I'm not saying Jake Paul has, but when you're trying to brand yourself or market yourself, you don't want to like overdo it or anything like that. So that was one. Oh, the one that now I like this one. Montana and Spark. Yeah. Now this one was a good one, but they disqualified Montana because the first thing is they headbutted each other, but that was by accident. I watched it. That was by accident. So what ended up happening is Spark headbutted with Montana, so he had a scratch on his eye, so the doctor had to look at it. But he was letting him continue anyway. So what happened was Montana and Spark, they got twisted. I think his hand was like this over Montana. So Montana pushed him to the ropes and flipped him over. So he was on the outside.
Spark
was on the outside, but he landed good. He landed on his feet.
But he could have hurt himself.
So they disqualified him, and Spark ended up getting the win. But even after all that was over,
is that considered a TKO or was it a disqualification?
Yeah. No, they disqualified him.
Okay.
They disqualified Montana for that. The referee did. It was no question about it. But then even afterwards, they were saying that Spark was elbowing him, but I didn't see any elbows. I don't believe that he did. Well, I didn't see that he did anything. So it was just like with the Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield fight.
Yeah.
When that happened, and then Tyson ended up biting Evander Holyfield's ear.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess when that happens, it gets them out of their norm wherever they are.
Out the game.
So that's why he ended up doing that. And then there was a fight which was good. Richardson, he's from New York. Richardson and Alamo. Now I have to be honest with you. Richardson, yeah. I believe he's coming. He's hungry. He was good. He was in welterweight, okay. And they were the undercard of the Montana and Spark fight.
Okay.
So they were the undercard. He put it on Alamo so good that he made him stop. The corner just said, you know what, stop. Tap out. Because you can see with Alamo, he wasn't mentally there. He wasn't mentally there. So they were just like, you know what, we're just going to stop. And you can tell that his corner was disappointed with them having to do that. So those were some of the matches that went on this weekend. So I thought that I would talk about that. Okay, for the women, yay. I actually went on the WBCboxing.com, okay? And I also was doing some research because I believe it was the week before last, UK media was asking questions about the difference between female boxing matches here and then over there in the UK. So I wanted to start doing some research. But before that, like I said, the WBCboxing.com, I was looking on there and it was talking about women who have paid the price for where boxing is now for females, and we're still working on some things. So let me just say a few names. Layla Ali, Christy Martin, also Anna Marie, and Marina Barbie. Now, of course, there's more, and then they say, and there's more women. Once again, I don't understand why they didn't have Lady Tiger on there, because they said they went through all kinds of discrimination and it wasn't equipped with bathrooms.
She paves the way for y'all women, bro.
So I don't understand why I'm not seeing Lady Tiger on the WBCboxing.com or just more frequently. She's not talked about, and I'm really puzzled.
I'm confused
about that because she went on a hunger strike. And she was also, remember when she was talking about when they were doing the picketing?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really confused about that. Now, I'm not saying that the other women don't deserve it or they did not go through
Lady
discrimination, but she deserves to be talked about more. She needs to be seen more. She needs to be appreciated more. And this is it's really,
I'm confused.
It's really bothering me. It really confused. Is. But I know there's other women too, like Jane Couch, that I want to also talk about, because Jane Couch, and this is within the UK, at first she was not able to fight in the UK. She had to go overseas. So she actually had a sexual discrimination case. And she won, and that was in 1996. Now, let's go back to the 1800s, even the 1700s, because in the 1700s, they even had women, it was called knuckle up in the streets.
Oh, that's knuckle up on Talkin fight.
Mm-hmm. Knuckle up in the streets with nothing. And also fighting men.
Baby, can I say
so that's something? Why in the UK too, it's more acceptable, because the Amateur Boxing Association. Go ahead.
I want to talk about Lady Tiger, man. Why she not, being honored in the way that she should be honored. Like, this is a dear friend of ours. She has become a dear friend of ours. And we really respect her pioneer efforts. And I think it's a shame that the WBC and every other boxing organization not honoring her. And the women of today who's reaping the benefits from her trailblazing efforts, y'all should reach out to Lady Tiger. She's a beautiful woman. She talks well.
She's a sweetheart.
She's a sweetheart, man. And we talk, at least about 2-3 times a week.
Yeah, I was supposed to call her before the podcast, but I didn't get a chance to, so we'll call her after.
So
and did we tell everybody that we have 2 signed autograph pictures?
Oh yeah.
And we have to bring that too. We have to bring that
real.
next time that we're going to be putting up in the club.
And you know what?
Gym.
She just sent us a picture with the Stafford boxing hoodie. I mean, with the Scully cap like that with the blue. So we asked her which color she wanted. She want either a gray one, black, or blue. So she chose blue, and we appreciate. And we appreciate her photo, man. But WBC, y'all need to really tighten up, man. Y'all need to show some love to Lady Tiger, man. She's paid her dues, and it's unfortunate that y'all not recognizing her in the way that y'all should. Y'all recognizing the people who benefit from her pioneering, trailblazing efforts. But let's give homage and respect to the trailblazer, Lady Tiger Miriam, Lady Tiger Tremere.
Oh,
my bad.
And also speaking about the WBC too, with the female fights, they also were talking about they were concerned with women's menstrual cycles, using that as an excuse to not doing the 3 minutes.
Oh, really?
And the rounds, like the men.
Here?
And the crazy thing about it is, right, when the women train, they spar for 3 minutes, 12 rounds, right? But at one time, the WBC says, yeah, we're open to look into changing that and making some changes for the women, but then they unanimously decided that they just did not want to do that, and they're pretty much using that as an excuse of a women's menstrual cycle. And also the promoters, I had to write this down because I want to quote it correctly, but a justification for the pro-female fighters not really getting paid. So promoters were saying, I quote, "We're not paying you because you're not doing the same work as men." I almost got up. Are you all kidding me? Out of all the times that on this podcast, and I know other podcasts, and I know in books, didn't women have to fight and spar with men to train?
That is correct.
I'm somewhat confused.
That's a fact.
I'm confused. I'm trying to figure out. Let me see. We're not paying you because you're not doing the same work as men. Oh.
Who wrote that? Where you get that
Okay. From? I have a source.
I need to.
That's a quote. Because I'm not going to come on here and just say something that I don't even know what I'm talking about. Because the World Boxing Council is one of the 4 organizations, and they sanction the professional fights. Yeah. So this is why. And then at one time too, they wanted the women to wear skirts because they were wearing, the headgear. Mm-hmm. We need them to wear skirts because we can't tell if it's a man or a woman fighting. So they're contradicting themselves. You can't tell the difference if it's a man or a woman fighting, so you want them to wear skirts, but then here you say they're not doing the same work as men. But you can't tell the difference, so they have to wear skirts. You see where the conflict? Cap. You see where the conflict of interest is coming from?
Cap.
So my thing is, we get the fact that there are more fights, more matches, undercards, and then with the Clarissa and Savannah Marshall fight, we get it. It was in the UK. But like I said, we know why the UK sees it that way and accepts women fighters. because also of Jane Couch having to take the association to court for sexual discrimination. So 96 is where it was a wrap. So it was thousands of women that were participating in the sport of boxing over there in the UK. So here in the United States, it's different. And then the men are making the decisions. The men. There is one woman that did make a comment about the decision of why they said and did what they did. But I'm trying to figure out, what does a menstrual cycle have to do with 3 minutes and 12 rounds? And then they have to take a pregnancy test. I don't know if they still have to take pregnancy tests, but that's acceptable. Oh, and then they said that they wanted them to wear, they said that the referees do, well, some of the referees do get a little upset if the women don't wear gear, their chest gear, to protect their chest. They said that punches in the chest will cause breast cancer.
Is that scientifically proven?
Not that I know of. I thought that maybe it would be more so hereditary. I could see.
I don't know.
You're more into it than I am.
I don't know.
But they
about
were
that
just
one.
saying more punches in the chest will be a part of cancer. But the women don't. I don't think the women wear the chest protectors, but they said that sometimes the referees may get upset if they don't.
I know they wear the sports bra.
And then they also said because of concussions. I forgot about that. Concussions too. Now, you can get a concussion by just going like this, but it has to be forced. Like if you're in a car accident and you don't hit your head on the dashboard, or if you're in the back seat and if you just go like this, you can get a concussion. Yes, you can get a concussion from a blow. Yes, you can get a concussion from hitting your head on a table, or when they play football, even basketball, any sport. But if that's the case, why are the men doing their 12 rounds, 3 minutes? It should be equal, because they were also talking about the woman's neck. They were saying that the woman's neck isn't as strong as a man's neck. That's why when we work out our neck, and I'm sure the women do too, and you put that weight in the little head and you go like this. So that's their reasons why they won't extend the length of time for women.
Well, I think, just playing.
Yeah, both sides.
Both sides. I can see from a health perspective and safety precautions that they won't, extend to 3 minutes.
But they can fight men though?
Well, a man is always stronger than a woman, and it's good sparring to fight a man.
And she can take punches from a man, and when
but I don't think a man is really
Lady Tiger lost a tooth and had a black eye.
But Sheila, that was back in the day. That's when there wasn't any protocols and things in place that we have today. But back then was different. Even the people is cut different. They act different compared to the way they act now. What people say about back then is that a lot of people were tougher compared to today. Just like who we had on the show. Rick Glazer.
Oh, okay.
He said that the fighters today are soft compared to the ones that were back in his time. And I can see that, and I agree with that 100%. So when Lady Tiger was fighting men, there wasn't any type of women who have overcome the obstacles to have the liberty to fight. So like today, women get to fight each other, and and now we supporting it. You have the Stafford Report, who's an advocate for female boxers and women in the boxing industry. But back then, when Lady Tiger was fighting, it was kind of like, I don't want you to be in the boxing industry. I don't want you to box, so I'm gonna really put it on you. I'm gonna pop, 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 pop. You feel what I'm saying? So like, and
Now,
it's
what
just
health
me
concerns do you have? Do you think of with the women when they're fighting each other in the ring?
back then or
No, I'm
now.
talking about now.
I don't have any.
Okay, so what I'm saying is
I don't have
that's
any.
what they're saying.
But
With the
you gotta
concussion,
understand, baby. You know, like women are overcoming a lot of obstacles that were in place to not allow them to even fight. So in the United States, it's not a big trend like it is in UK, but it's starting to change with fighters like Clarissa Shields and some of the other American fighters. So I just think that it's gonna be some time before we can get to that point where women will be treated as equal in the boxing industry, because you got to understand it's always been a male dominated sports, and by women coming into the picture now, gradually it's starting to change. The men who were had the iron fist, they getting a little bit older, and then they gonna pass on. Then once they pass on, then the culture changed, because they won't bring their ideology that they had coming up about how things should be in the boxing industry.
well, this shouldn't be that hard for pay equality. Now, I'll play both sides. Okay, 3 minutes, I can get it. But as far as with the pay equality, that shouldn't be if they're really putting in the work.
Well, they just like the WNBA. At the end of the day, it's about a business. It's about you selling a product that people will support with their dollars.
And we have a great products, brands of women. I don't want to call it athletes, excuse me. A lot of the women who fight, they like to be called athletes, no disrespect.
It's just a matter of time before the United States catch up to UK. That's why Top Rank uh, been has established a relationship with
Sky Sport Boxing.
Yeah, because they see the trend in UK where the people in England, how they are a big fan of boxing compared to here in the United States. So they were like, hey man, establish this relationship, Top Rank, and this and that. What's the name of that company again? I keep forgetting. Skybox.
Sky Sport Boxing or
Is it
Sky
Skybox?
Boxing.
It's Sky.
And Matchroom Boxing too is a matter of fact. Eddie Hearn with the with the fight with Montana and Sparks too.
Yeah. So I just think that it's just a matter of time before female boxing become popular in the United States like it is in the UK. And just like the UK came up with the Queen Elizabeth belt for the women, right?
Yeah, that Clarissa Shields one.
Hey, Clarissa Shields, ma'am, I see you doing a lot of touring across the world. It'll be so kind if you can carve out just a little time to bless the Stafford Boxing Report. We've sent requests to your team, to your emails, to your email address. I will be definitely sending you another request on Facebook. So I know that you're enjoying yourself and you definitely deserve it, ma'am. So if you could, in your free time, um, bless us with your presence. It will be greatly appreciated. We would love for you to get on the Stafford Boxing Report and share your testimony coming from Michigan and the hard knocks that you've been able to come. And you are a leader for women in boxing, and that's square business.
You know, Jessica McCaskill and Cameron, they had a fight too, and Cameron, she came out the winner too. So we have to get in contact with Rick Ramos.
Most definitely, we will do that, man, because I think that the women boxing movement is here to stay. It's only going to get better. And I do see a lot of young females taking up the sport of boxing now than I ever have in my entire life. And so with people like Mary, Lady Tiger, and people like Clarissa Shield, y'all are definitely, and Layla Ali too. Y'all are a inspiration for a lot of black female up and coming boxers who wish to take that journey and become professional boxers and make their mark in the industry. And I think that with the what is it, the W, no no the what's the WFC, no, the MMA, put it to you that way, the MMA. I think when they first was like coming into the public eye, a lot of people like, man, that's da 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 da. But in all reality, the MMA helped the boxing industry because the boxing industry was kind of going down. So when the MMA came in, it kind of helped the boxing industry and it gave more light to people like Floyd Money Mayweather to do what he did to take the boxing to another level. And so I really think that the MMA, what is MMA fighting, whatever.
I can't. You know what? I can't. I can't really get into that.
I can't get into it.
It's too much going on with that one.
I mean, I didn't watch a couple of fights, but I think that they have carved a niche in that industry. And I think Dana White has done a remarkable job putting together fights that people want to pay and see. And he always, sell out the arenas because he know how to put certain fighters together that the community wants to see.
Yeah, he is a good. You know what? I can say that.
Yeah.
Great matchmaking.
And so that needs to be transcended into the boxing industry. So top fighters don't need to be boxing canned tomatoes. They need to be boxing other top fighters. That's what makes the boxing industry, exciting. And so, like people would say, well, Floyd Mayweather, he didn't really fight top ranked fighters. I mean, it depends on who you're talking to. Some people say he did, some people say he didn't. But that just life. People always have their opinion. But just like who was supposed to? I think it was Earl Spence was going to fight Terrence Crawford, but now he got to fight Norman. I think that's the fighter name. So that's mandatory. So now the fight that everybody wanted to see between Earl Spence and Terrence Crawford, now it has to be delayed because now Errol Spence has a mandatory fight according to the WBC or the WBO, one of the two. I can't remember. I know I was reading up on it, but I just can't remember which one it was. But that's the thing that I think what interests the sports fan of MMA fighting. And that goes for the female too. You know what I'm saying? Dana White, he be putting the right females together, like the top female fighters, he put them together. So we need to like implement that plan that he got going on into the boxing industry, man, so we can have some top fights. And that's one of the things that I will say about Don King. He always put on a great fighting exposition. And I just think that the boxing industry need to get back to that, not just, putting fighters together to have a perfect record. That's not that to me, that hurts the boxing industry because it's like when a fighter loses a fight, now it's like it's programmed in the fans' mind that, well, we don't want to see him no more because he don't have a perfect record. All the great fighters, Roberto Duran, Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, Larry Holmes, Sugar Ray Leonard, uh, uh, Marvin Hagler, uh, what's his name from Atlanta, Evander Holyfield, Lennox Lewis, um, all those great fighters had a loss on their record, and that don't necessarily mean because they didn't go had a perfect record that they weren't great fighters. They were great fighters. They are the foundation of where the boxing industry is today. So I think that we need to get away from that perfect record and put together fights that really mean something to the community and what sport fans want to see.
Facts.
For real.
You hit that right on the nail.
I just think so. I just think, and I'm not going to get into politics and I ain't going to get into naming names or none of that because at some point, Sheila and I plan to sit across the table with these people to negotiate for fighters that will come under our umbrella, the Stafford Boxing Enterprise. So I don't have nothing to say because one thing I understand about life is that you don't want to burn any bridges because you may need to cross that bridge later on in life. So you want to say positive things. You want to say encouraging things. And when you say those things, it can create your reality. So I choose to say positive things because my reality is about being positive. I want to live a prosperous life with my wife, and we want to make an impact in the boxing industry. I was about to say the plasma industry, but yeah, we want to do that too. But I want to say hello to all the new visitors, viewers that will listen to the Stafford Boxing Report. We hope that you're informed. We want to be different from other boxing podcasts. Our background is totally different from those that you may listen to on a daily basis. But we not only talk about boxing, but we talk about life and we talk about what's going on in our life. We talk about marriage. We talk about financial literacy. We talk about just being positive in all aspects of your life. And boxing is a vehicle that we use to bring in a certain type of demographic. But again, I want to say this to Shakur Stevenson. I say, bro, your grandfather didn't put a lot of work into you, bro. He deposited a lot of his blood, sweat, and tears, his anointing in you and on you, bro. And your family depends on you, bro. And if I'm mistaken, you got engaged. So if you got engaged, then you want to make sure that you are there for your future wife, bro. So instead of now, I know as a street dude, we like that street fame. We from the hood, so we like to shoot dice. I used to shoot dice all the time. I used to be in the gambling house all the time. So you're not hearing something from someone that don't know about that. I'm from Houston. I used to be in Third Ward. My uncle Daryl Lockett, God bless his soul, had a gambling house. We used to shoot on the pool table. You know what I'm saying? And we played the bar. So if you a dice shooter, you know about that. You see what I'm saying? But at the same time, bro, you have to think about your family, bro. And I understand that you signed to Jay Prince, bro, but it's okay to be signed to Jay Prince, but it's also in your best interest to move differently, bro. Sometimes, bro, you can't be out late, you know what I'm saying, around certain people, particularly if you're talking about being a married man. When you become a married man, my boy, you do married man things. You don't do things like you if you're a single guy, bro. You just don't want to be out there because now the responsibility relies on you. And will continue to watch your fights, but that situation that you got caught up in with takeoff and just being there, and people want to, they got questions that they want to ask you. There's answers to be, uh, put to those questions, and by you being there, bro, you can get caught up, from a legal perspective because they want to know. And bro, you're young, bro, and you don't need that at all, bro. So I would strongly encourage you to move differently and let this be a lesson to you, bro, because you may not be fortunate next go around, and it might cost you your life. Now, I'm from Houston, and I done got shot at, I done got carjacked. I done got my jaw broken. I know how them boys is in the H-Town, man. You know, you don't really know. You just down there because you under Jay Prince and he like to move you and your family down to the H-Town so you can be closer to his boxing gym, which is a great boxing gym. But as far as the culture go, you know, you really don't know how H-Town is. Them boys they serious down there, man. And it ain't nothing to play with. So I would very strongly encourage you to move differently, bro, than you have been, because I saw a lot of pictures of you, you know, in different events, you know, and I don't know if I ever saw you shoot dice, but shooting dice is something that we do all the time, you know. But bro, you gotta change. Once you get to a certain level, bro, you can't do things like you used to do. You can't be in certain places. I know I ain't gonna be, because I ain't trying to be caught up. I ain't trying to be standing before no judge and he talking about he finna give me a football number plus an alphabet. I don't wanna be I don't wanna be involved in a RICO case. I don't wanna know nothing. I don't wanna know none of that, because now we have kids in our program and our program is going to even get bigger. And so by us being blessed with these kids and these kids look up to us, we got to move differently, bro. And so that's uh, my words of wisdom to you is to be careful, man, because you only get one chance, bro. And once that chance is gone, it's a wrap. Babe, you got anything you want to say? Because you've been quiet. I appreciate you allowing me, you know, talk. But like I say, you the host, I'm co-host. This your platform. I'm glad that I'm able to come on your platform and just share it with you. And we can just enlighten people about what we feel is important, not only in the boxing industry, but in life.
Um, to the women, just keep on grinding, keep on doing what you need to do. Think positive, love on yourself, heal, speak life into yourself, because you have to take care of yourself before you'll be able to take care of anybody else. It's like being in an airplane. If you need to put the oxygen mask on and you don't put yours on, you're trying to help everybody else. It's just not going to work. And whatever it is that you're doing, put God first, always. Everything else will fall into place. Just handle yourself differently. That's just pretty much into the women in the boxing industry. Be creative, do whatever it is that you need to do. You may not start off having the types of equipment that other people may have, but as I suggested before, you need to start branding yourself. You need to start marketing yourself. So even if you have to use your phone, use your friend's phone, have someone from your family or somebody you know, just record, just do the best that you can, and just keep fighting for what's right and do what's right and be that positive role model that you need to be, because women our age, even the elders and the younger generation, a lot of them are looking for that, to see that someone else is not doing what everybody else is doing. So that's what will set all of us apart. So it's nothing bad or nothing wrong with it. Just accept change. Change can be hard and change does hurt. It can be very uncomfortable, but just go with the flow and love on your family and protect your kids, protect the youth. They need it, because there's so much going on, whether on social media or TV. That's what's raising the youth nowadays. And the education, like Stafford said, the education, the financial literacy, the discipline, it's needed because it's not there anymore. And the family structure is missing. It needs to come back. So even if the mother and dad, if you all are not together, it's important that the kids, the youth, whether they're yours and those outside of your family, see that you all can still work together and take yourselves out of it and just think about the kids. And if need to be, if you two need to get together and talk, you all need to really listen and hear. You may not agree and you may be blinded, but at least show the respect to each other because these kids, they really need it. We all need it. And that's not just in the Black community, that's in all of the communities. So that's pretty much all that I have to say. And I'm looking forward to some more fights because I can watch them a lot. I like to see people in the ring fighting it out.
Well, baby, it's been a great podcast. I want to say to everyone how impressed I am with your preparation. You do a phenomenal job talking about women and men in the sport of boxing. Plus, you talk about issues that people need to hear. And if you don't do the research and preparation for the podcast show, people won't know. So your work is definitely needed and it does not go unnoticed.
Oh, and Brooke No Mercy. I like that. I'm going to ask her how she came up with No Mercy. She was supposed to be on today, but just something happened. Not going to tell her business, but she will be on this coming Monday. So she didn't just drop us. I don't want anybody to think that, but she will be on next Monday.
Next Monday.
Yeah.
Yep, for real. And so I was going to leave with a word of gold nugget because I haven't said one. And what I want to leave with is wisdom. You know, you have two types of wisdom. You have wisdom that comes from God, and then you have wisdom that comes through people and experience. I believe that you need both personally. I think God's wisdom is more sufficient, but having wisdom that comes from our elders to pass on to the younger generation is something that we need. So young fellas, young ladies, young men, young women, men and women, please seek wisdom from God. Please seek wisdom from other people that you trust through their lifestyle that will share wisdom that can help you make better decisions in your personal life because your decisions in your personal life affects everything that's connected to you and it brings about a level of credibility that people see in the community. And so when we receive positive wisdom from all positive sources, it helps our community grow because they see the positive things that we do from the wisdom that we receive, be it from God or from our elders or people in our community. So take the time out to seek wisdom from our elders. Take time out to ask God to give you wisdom because we all need it. And without it, we're nothing.
Oh, there is one other thing, and then we're going to get ready to go. I'm not going to take long. So I was at the gym one day, and I saw a man come in, and he was coming to get some young men. I don't like to say boys. And one of them had this real bad, nasty attitude, being disrespectful, and it bothered me. So I asked one of his friends, "Why is your friend acting like this?" "Oh, because his dad came too early to pick us up." I'm like, "Are you serious?" So I just sat there and I couldn't stay still. So I went up to the front and I introduced myself to the dad. And I said, "Excuse me, my name is Sheila. Are you the father of the young boy that you just finished speaking to in the gym?" He was like, "Yes." I said, "Well, it bothered me of how he treated you and pretty much the display because he was doing that in front of his friends that his dad was picking up at nighttime on a school night." And we were talking, and then he just said some things and he appreciated, and then his son had came, and boy, did his son have a nasty attitude. Woo! So I just pretty much had to break it down to him. So I'm not going to tell you what I'm saying, but to the youth, let me tell you something. Now, you all don't pay no bills.
Nan.
You all have a comfortable bed. And maybe you're going through a transition where you may have to sleep on the floor or you may have to sleep on one of those air mattresses. But at the end of the day, you're in a safe environment that your parent, your guardian, or your parents are going to work busting their butts to make sure they either pay the rent, the mortgage, the lights, the water bill, your cell phone bill, more likely, the clothes, the shoes, the food, to where you can get up in the middle of the night, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, go into the refrigerator, pour you something cold to drink, or put something in your stomach and put something in the microwave, right? But then you show disrespect to the one that is taking care of you. Now, I will say, parents are not perfect. We're not perfect. Yes, we do make mistakes. Yes, there are times that we do go through things. But at the end of the day, we are putting that aside and we are taking care of you all. You all might not have the things that you want, but you all have the things that you need. And then parents are not going to give you something if you're not doing what you're supposed to do. Like, you can be disrespectful and not doing good in school and getting in trouble, and then you think that you can go hang out with your friends or get a present or get money. It does not work like that.
No entitlement.
That disrespect has to stop. It's not tolerated, and it should not be tolerated, and it's not going to be tolerated because nobody is going to come on your level. Now, yes, we do have to talk. Yes, we should listen. But when it comes to the point where you are being extremely disrespectful in the open,
in the community,
and then the father was coming using his car, putting gas in his car, coming to pick you and your two friends up, and you want to have an attitude. Like, where did they do that? Where did they do that at? So to the youth, we understand that this is a new time. We understand that new things, and we understand about the internet and the TV and the different types of shows and certain things that maybe people our age may or may not have been able to do. But let me tell you something. What you're doing and how you're acting, people are looking and people are watching. So you're really doing yourself an injustice, because you're not going to be able to just go to anybody how you act and treat your parents, because you wouldn't want anybody to disrespect you and treat you like that. So why would you want to do the person or the persons that's really taking care of you and they're really trying your best? Because with you all, it's all about the money.
And don't let that internet trick you out of your rightful position with your parents, my boy.
Because they're the only ones that's going to be there for you. So when you get into trouble, who are you going to call?
Mama.
Fact. So I just wanted to put that in and give something for the youth to think about. Because if you can do what you're not supposed to do and do whatever you want to do and it's wrong, then you can change your way of thinking and do what is right. And if your other friends are not holding you accountable,
you don't need them,
and they're doing things or doing the same thing that you're doing, then you're not going to grow. And it's not cool, and it's not the hip thing to do.
Baby, don't. You ain't gave him enough. But calm down.
Oh boy, calm down. I'm getting a little hot right now.
That disrespect is something that we don't tolerate. And so when we see disrespectful kids, particularly when their parents is trying to do everything they can to not only provide for your needs, but give you some of the things that you want, and you still disrespecting your parent, bro, out of here.
Facts. Deuces.
For real. Well, baby, I appreciate you dropping that jewel on them folks. Appreciate the opportunity to be on the podcast with you. We want to thank Talkin Fight for hosting the Stafford Boxing Report.
Shout out to the Talkin Fight family.
For real.
Shout out to Graham and
Yes, sir.
Eric,
Yes,
always.
sir. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been real. We thank you for your time. But until next time, Stafford Boxing.
The making of champions.
No cap.